We have already covered what governance is. We have already understood what good governance is. And now it is time to move forward to what are the features or dimensions of good governance. Now, most of the time when students attempt questions, one, they lose out on marks. One reason could be lack of knowledge. A second, the problem is always recollection. Students learn, but they fail to recollect the terms, which is very important in your answers, especially in a paper like governance. Key terms and keywords are very important. So here, to remember the dimensions of good governance, we can have a code called create PR. Now this is the mnemonic or the code used to answer if there is anything related to dimensions of good governance. Now create PR. Now C would stand for your consensus oriented. Now what does consensus oriented mean here? See, in a governance process, you cannot arbitrarily impose your decisions. It has to be respected. In the sense, all stakeholders will have multiple opinions, views, grievances, complaints, etc. And all of this has to be respected. And an agreement has to be reached at, wherein there's a collective effort. So here what happens is, it dismantles hierarchy. It dismantles hierarchy, which means it breaks hierarchy. So it's a win-win situation here, right? Now, rule of law. This term you must have come across in your polity. Now, how is rule of law important in your good governance? See, law must be such that it must be equal to all, equal for all. It must be equally enforceable across all sections. That is another feature of your good governance. Third, that is E, equity and inclusiveness. Now, equity, where equality is equally enforced. See, why do governance is concerned with outcome. Governance is concerned with outcome, that is your result. It is result based, right? Now, if you do not have equity, you will be outcome deprived. You'll be outcome deprived. And this wouldn't be a good feature of governance. So equity is necessary so that you are not outcome deprived. Inclusiveness. It must consider everyone, all sections of society. It should not, no one should feel that they are left out of the process. Okay? There should be inclusivity. Fourth is your accountability. Now, accountability, how does it help in good governance? I'll write the code once again. Accountability. Now, accountability helps you evaluate a performance. It helps evaluation. It helps to evaluate. Okay? So, what happens when a policy is there in place? You measure the performances of the policy. How is the policy doing? Okay? Performance-wise. Second, as per the knowledge of this, you can make necessary improvements. Right? Improvements with regard to the performances. Next, if there is non-performance that you find out while evaluating, if you find that there is non-performance, what you can do is, you can impose sanctions against them as well. So that is how your accountability helps in good governance. Next, transparency. Now, transparency is one major factor in governance. There is process, there is transaction. So if it is following a good governance structure, it would be open to processes and transaction, as in if there is any question asked about processes and transaction involved, it should be able to answer. The process should not be opaque, it should be transparent. Transparent. Effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness and efficiency. Though this is self-explanatory, you have a policy. One, it is important that it is effective to the target concerned and that it is efficient in its undertakings. Okay? Seventh would be your participation. Participation could be both direct and indirect. Involvement in a policy, both direct and indirect. Now, this is important. Why? Because it helps build cohesiveness. That is your unity. And once you feel that you are part of the process, your contribution is also positive. The last would be your responsiveness. Now, responsiveness means responding to the demands of the society. That is one important feature, one of the important feature of good governance, where you are responding to the demands of society within a given time frame. It is not that you take an indefinite period to finish your work. No, it is within a given time frame that you respond to the needs of the society, needs to the demands of the society. So that is one feature of your good governance.